So I will continue from my previous video. In the previous video we discussed about the major difference between E. coli. Another one is going to be the yeast. Now in case of an yeast, the clonal selection is basically by complementation, for which we have discussed about what is an auxotrope and what are all the genes which are useful in identification of clonal by complementation. So before we understand how the vectors do function, so we have to really understand certain component, especially the changes which is going to happen in case of a chromosomal structure. You have studied these things in detail in your other paper, genetics, in which you are going to study a lot of mutations. So mutations can be studied like sickle cell anemia, that is a point mutation. But we are also going to study mutations in the form of what is known as a chromosomal aberrations. In case of a chromosomal aberrations, there is a complete loss of a chromosome or a complete addition of a new chromosome. Within the chromosome, there will be an inversion, there is a gene deletion, there is a gene duplication. So many things is going to happen, isn't it? So before we get into that, we will just try to understand what happens during a process of meiosis. In case of a meiosis, so usually what happens, the exchange of genetic material takes place. Now that genetic material is basically because of a process known as a crossing over. This crossing over can be studied in this particular format. The same information can also be obtained by another process known as breakage and rejoining. So before we get into the crossing over or a breakage and rejoining, what is going to happen in the process of meiosis, especially in case of a homologous recombination? All right. Suppose like in case of a meiotic cell division, so usually what happens, homologous chromosomes undergoes pairing. So I have depicted two different colors. So one must be a paternal, another one must be a maternal. So now these two are homologous chromosome. That means the DNA sequence of this is exactly the same of the DNA sequence of this. So that means, so we do have two copies of DNA sequences. Now this DNA sequences before meiotic cell division undergoes replication. Am I right? So now this DNA undergo replication and this DNA undergo replication. So we do have, so here before the replication we have two copies of same genetic material. Because of the replication, each one will give rise to one more copies. Now during the meiosis, before the crossing over, we have four copies of the same genetic material. Now for a reason we really do not know, there will be an exchange of genetic material. So that means we do have characters. For example, the F1 generation acquire characters, few characters from this parent and few characters from this parent. Now this has to happen basically because during this particular time there will be an exchange of genetic material. We have not really understood how this genetic component undergoes exchanging, but the best given explanation is in the form of a model. What we call this as a holiday model. So you recall how holiday model works. So now during that particular process, what happens? Crossing over takes place. Now here I have just given a crossing over in one region, but in any given meiotic cell division, between a pair of chromosome, homologous chromosome, there will be more than one crossing over region. What we call this as a chiasma is going to take place, isn't it? So now during this particular crossing over, after the breakup, you can see that now a portion of this genetic material is associated with this chromosome and another portion with this chromosome, isn't it? So now this particular one is known as what is known as a crossing over. Now during this crossing over, many things is going to happen. But the most important one is that this crossing over is easily happens if there is a homologous region. So now since we do have four copies of homologous DNA, we call this as a homologous recombination. Okay. Now in case of a homologous recombinations, so many things can happen. So now for example, this is an example for a portion of the DNA can be deleted. This is what is known as a deletion process. Now here this is an example in which a deletion is going to happen followed by duplication of the genetic material. Now there is an inversion is going to happen. There is a translocation is going to happen. Now these things are extensively studied in the genetics, but this is very important in order to understand the vectors, how we have designed with respect to the yeast region. So now we will see, the most important one is that in order to have a crossing over, you need to have a homologous region. Okay, that is very, very important. Now, for example, this is a chromosome. Now you have to understand that we do have a lot more repeats. Some of the repeats is going, for example, we talk about the repetitive DNAs. For example, now this is the region because the same DNA is repeated several times in fact. So now these homologous regions are very, very important. So now we will take an example of a deletion. So the repetitive units are very important. I think you must be knowing that with us, I think more than 50% we call it as junk DNA because it is a lot of repetitions is going to find out. Transposon is an example in which it is a repetitive unit. So all these repetitive units are very, very critical in case of this crossing over. Now I will take an example of this chromosome. It's a pictorial representation. This is number 1 gene, 2 gene, 3 gene and a 4 gene. But we have a repetitive unit here and there is a repetitive unit here. During cell cycle, it can create a condition like this. Now this is the repetitive unit and this is the repetitive unit. So now they come very close to each other, which is very much similar to that of a homologous pairing. So now this is a homologous pairing, so in which there is an inversion takes place. Now this is 1, this and this will undergo a homologous pairing. So now 1, 2, 3, 4. For example, in this condition, if there is a crossing over happens between this homologous pair and this homologous pair, now what happens? This is the number 1 gene. Because of the crossing over, instead of 2, this will combine with gene 4. Okay. Now that is number 1 and number 2. So because of the crossing over, now this 1, 2, 3, 4 becomes just 1, 4. The other unit is going to be a circular DNA with 2 and 3 gene. Now during cell division, for example, if this one has got a centromere, now this is going to be taken into the daughter cell. Since this do not contain any centromere, this particular region is deleted during the cell cycle. So now so in case of an F1 generation, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So because of the crossing over which is happening because of this condition, so in the F1 generation, these genes are going to be deleted. Now this process is because of a crossing over. Now we will have another example in which deletion takes place. Apart from the deletion, we also have a duplication. Now I will take this 1, 2, 3, 4 with this repetitive unit. Now we have another homologous pairing 1, 2, 3, 4. This also has a repetitive unit. So assuming that now this repetitive unit between 1 and 2 will homologous pair between 3 and 4. Alright. Now during these conditions, if there is a crossing over happens in this region, now what happens is that, so now this 1, now because of the crossing over will combine with 4. So now what happens? We are going to have a smaller DNA which is with 1 and 4 gene. Now what happens to look to this one? 1, 2, 3. Now this combines with this 2, 3, 4. Now the resultant one is going to be the 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. So now here there is a deletion, whereas in this case this 2, 3 undergoes duplication. So now if at all we are going to find any gene duplication, now this is how. So because of a homologous pairing happens in a different homologous region, so we have a deletion. Another one is going to be the gene duplication. So now this homologous region is very, very important for the crossing over. Now another one is going to be the inversion. Now you got the hang of it. Now this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So now this is the repeat, but this one is an inverted repeat. So now this is in this direction and this is in this direction. Now then what happens? So in case of a pairing, so now this is 1, 2, 3 like this. So now these two things are going to undergo pairing. So now when you do have a crossing over, so earlier it is 1, 2, 3, 4, but now it is 1, 3, 2, 4. So because of this inversion, instead of in 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 1, 3, 2, 4. So now this is what is known as an inversion. Another one is going to be the translocation. The translocation takes place between the homologous region distributed in two different chromosomes. Okay. So now here this is a repetitive unit in one chromosome with 1, 2, 3, 4 genes. Assuming that we have another chromosome 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then there is a repetitive unit. When these two things pair because of the homologous region, now if there is a crossing over happens, 1 to 8, 9, 10, 1 to 8, 9, 10, then this 5, 6, 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the resultant of what is known as a translocation. So now the important thing what I want to discuss here is going to be the crossing over. In order to have a crossing over, we need a homologous region. Homologous region need not be a homologous chromosome, even if there is a small segment of homologous region. Now you know that I think we do have a lot of repetitive units distributed across the chromosomes. They are responsible for all kind of recombination and translocation takes place. So this is a very, very, very important event in order to understand how the vectors do work in our next process. So I will take an example of an yeast transformation. Now this particular one is done by the group Henan et al. In the year 1978. Okay. Now he has taken a plasmid. Now this is a plasmid YE LEU10. So this is the now this PFE LEU10. Now this is a plasmid combining a plasmid derived from col E1. Now this col E1 plasmid harbors an E. coli rather than E. coli yeast gene LEU2. Now LEU2 plus. Now this is a functional leucine gene. Okay. So now what they have taken? They have taken PYE LEU10 vector. Now this vector is a combination of col E1 plasmid, that is an E. coli plasmid, harboring a functional leucine 2 gene. Okay. Now they have done a transformation in a LEU2 minus auxotropes. So now they have taken an yeast in which this particular gene is mutated. Okay. LEU2 minus auxotrope. Now here what happens, in order to do a transformations, they require what is known as a spiroplast. What exactly is a spiroplast? Spiroplast is nothing but a cell wall-less yeast in which the cell wall of an yeast is been completely removed using the enzymatic degradation. Now the remaining cell wall-less yeast is nothing but a spiroplast. Now they have taken this spiroplast from this LEU2 minus auxotrope. So in the presence of this vector, that is the DNA, in the presence of calcium chloride and PEG, so they have done the transformation. So after the transformation, they have stabilized the entire process in a stabilizing medium now containing 3% agar. So this was a random experiment. Now when they did this particular experiment, usually LEU2 minus auxotrope do not grow in a medium which is lack leucine, because leucine is very important for the growth of this yeast auxotrope. So now you grow them in a media which is devoid of leucine amino acid. Now suppose if this auxotrope is replaced with functional leu plus gene, then this auxotrope should survive in a medium do not contain leucine. I think you have understood this process in fact. When they did, after the stabilizing medium in a 3% agar, these people have found out 42 transformants. So which has got leu, because they have identified 42 auxotropes, the transformants, meaning that these auxotropes have acquired leucine plus functional gene. Alright. So now when they analyzed in detail about these 42 leu 2 plus transformants, so now this is an agarose gel electrophoresis. So they do find lot of conditions. I am going to represent pictorially. Now this is a recipient. This is an auxotrope in which leucine 2 minus. That means this particular gene is mutated. When this gene is mutated, this no longer synthesizes the essential amino acid leucine. Suppose if you grow this recipient in a medium which is devoid of leucine, these do not grow basically because they are unable to synthesize leucine, and leucine is important for the survival, but we have a medium which is devoid of leucine, so none of these spiroplasts do grow. So in this case we don't find any growth. Now these are the typical transformants. So I told you they got 42 transformants. When they did the genetic analysis by restriction digestion, and another one is the agarose gel electrophoresis, 7 of them got the leucine 2 plus, in which this particular gene is replaced by this gene by what you call this as a homologous recombination, or we can say that this particular gene is integrated into this particular region. Okay, out of 42, what they have found out that 7 of them are perfect transformants in which the mutated gene is replaced with a functional gene. Okay, now out of 42, then we have remaining 35. Out of 35, when they did the analysis of 30 of them, they identified leucine 2 minus gene, but next to the leucine 2 minus gene is this particular plasmid PYELU10 got incorporated. I told you this plasmid is containing both COL-E1, another one is functional leucine in fact. Now the entire plasmid got integrated next to the leucine 2 minus mutated gene. So 30 of them are again functional, but analysis here it is by replacement, but here this particular plasmid along with the gene, even the plasmid got integrated into the leucine 2 minus region in fact. This is the other type of a transformant. Whereas 5 of them in which we have the leucine 2 minus gene, but whereas this particular plasmid, instead of integrating next to this gene, this got integrated in totally a different chromosome. I told you we have 16 different chromosomes in yeast, but this particular vector along with this yeast gene got integrated in other than this particular one. So elsewhere this got integrated, but still their integration resulted in a functional activity. So usually what happens is that now this particular plasmid has got a BAMH1 restriction site. It has been mutated. So if I just cleave this with BAMH1, so we get this cleavage product. And when I do take this functional transformant, and if I do the BAMH1 cleavage, I'm going to get in the same region. So now this is the recipient, because so now this is the gene from the auxotrope. When we have taken that, then we are going to get this particular one. Now when you analyze that with the transformants, 7 of them has got the functional gene, but it is replaced with another one. Now when you do take the 30 of them, so what we got is that this particular plasmid got integrated next to the leucine 2. So now when we cleave with BAM-H1, this don't have a BAM-H1, so here is a BAM-H1. So we are going to get a huge DNA piece. So we do get it in a larger region. Now the 5 of them, I think we are going to get this gene as well as this gene product, BAM-H1 in fact. So now based on this particular experiment, it has been clearly suggested that we need to have a homologous region in order to have a recombination or in order to integrate. For example, if there is a vector, now from the vector the mutated gene or the functional gene has to undergo a transformation in the process of what is known as a homologous recombination. In case of a prokaryotes, the moment it enters into that, it used to express, it used to be functional. Whereas in higher organisms, it is not going to happen that way because we have the epigenetics will come into the picture. So in case of an epigenetics, because these particular genes has to be integrated in the right chromosome, even if it is integrated in the other chromosome, we don't know whether it is functional or not. But in this yeast transformation experiment from the Hinan et al., I think it is very much clear that they were very successful in generating 42 transformants, and this is the detailed structure. And in that one, 7 of them, I think they got the desired one. 30 of them, they also got the desired one, but their integration is totally in a different fashion. And 5 of them are totally different. So now this experiment suggests that yes, we can create a vector and we can also create a transformants in which a functional gene can be expressed in a mutated auxotrope. Okay, now this is a typical experiment. You will find the detailed description of this experiment in the Pimrose textbook. You please refer the same thing again. Okay, now here I think you have understood that LEU2, which is a key enzyme for the identification of the transformants. So apart from that, I have given you a list of markers used for the complementation, but the widely used markers are going to be the histidine 3, leucine 2, TRP5 and URA3. Now in this we have both positive selection, another one is going to be the negative selection. So in case of a positive selection, so this is a positive selection. We have a mutated gene, alright. So in the mutated gene, so the functional gene is going to be introduced. So now there will be a replacement. So now this is what is known as a positive selection. Then we also have a negative selection. So negative selection is that we don't mutate the same thing. For example, we have the leucine plus gene. Now what happens? We are going to add an inhibitor for this leucine 2 plus gene. So because of the inhibitor, this is no more functional. Okay. Now in the presence of an inhibitor, if you allow them to grow, now this is what is called as a negative selection. So among the genes, URA3 can be used both for a positive selection as well as a negative selection. See, URA3 and lysine 2 can be grown in the presence of specific inhibitors also, what we call this as a negative selection. In case of a URA3, the inhibitor what we are going to use is 5-fluoroorotic acid, whereas in case of a lysine 2, it is alpha amino adipate. So you should understand like what is a positive selection and what is a negative selection. In case of a positive selection, we have an auxotrope in which we have a mutated gene. Now that mutated gene is going to be selected or based on the complementation. Whereas in case of a negative selection, we are going to use an inhibitor. Now in the presence of an inhibitor, so these URA3 and lysine 2 are going to be functional. What we call this as a negative selection. So now this is an yeast transformation. So with this yeast transformation preliminary experiment, now they have designed several yeast vectors. So we can classify these yeast vectors as 1. Yeast integrated plasmid, or we can say this is yeast integrating plasmid vector. Another one is going to be the yeast replicating vector. Another one is going to be the yeast episomal vector. Another one is going to be the yeast centromeric vector. Another one is going to be the yeast artificial chromosome. So now here, so we are going through many types of vector. One is integrating vector, what we call this as YIP. So now this has got both plasmid DNA as well as yeast DNA. So as a result, we write yeast integrating plasmid vector. Another one is yeast replicating plasmid vector, yeast episomal plasmid vector, yeast centromeric plasmid vector. Another one is yeast artificial chromosome. Now I am going to explain what is meant by an integrating vector. So what we have studied in the previous one, especially with the Hannan experiment with the LEU2, is a typical integrating vector. I'm just explaining the same thing again with a little bit more vivid detail about yeast integrating plasmid 1. Okay, I told you like this is a plasmid vector derived from PBR322, also has got an ampicillin resistant gene. Now this has got a repetitive unit. So in one side, so we are going to have a ECOR1 site, another one we are going to have a SAL1 restriction site, but this is a repetitive unit. This is a repetitive unit which is important for what we call this as a homologous recombination. Alright. Now here we have taken the histidine 3 plus, which is a functional histidine gene. Now we have taken an auxotrope, yeast auxotrope, where in the chromosome 15, so the histidine 3 is mutated. Okay. Now next to this histidine 3, we have a repetitive unit. So now one is ECOR1, another one is SAL1. Now in order to have an integrating vector, suppose if this is the gene of our choice, on the either side we need to have a DNA segment. Either if this is the segment, so we need to have such repetitive unit in this region, because that particular region is very important for integrating, or that is by the this is very important for the crossing over. All right. So now usually what happens, like the process is going to be that we do take this particular DNA. Now we take this yeast auxotrope, we remove the cell wall, so we do create a spiroplast. Now to this particular spiroplast, I think we are going to add calcium chloride and polyethylene glycol with this particular DNA. We do the transformations, and then we are going to put them to revive the whole process on a 3% agar, and then we try to look for a transformant. Now here what happens, because of this crossing over, so we are going to have what is known as a gene duplication 2 takes place. Okay. Now this is this is the plasmid, this is the ECOR1, histidine 3 plus, or we can start from here. ECOR1, histidine minus, this is the mutation. Now this is the crossing over happens. So now this is the duplication. This is ECOR1, histidine minus. Now this SAL1. Now comes this plasmid that is here, that is with the ampicillin. So ECOR1, this histidine 3 minus. Then we have this SAL1. Now this particular one. Now then again we have this plus this plus this. So what happens is that now during the transformation, this because of the homologous recombination, so now there will be a gene duplication. In any transformant, gene duplication is highly unstable, because when you do have a transformations, so we need to have a stable transformation. Another one is going to be the reversal of a transformation, because when you do the transformation, many times the transformation is not going to be stable, basically because it invariably results in what is known as a gene duplication. During this gene duplication, the inserted gene is going to be eliminated. They do have a process of elimination. So now when you do a transformation, whether the transformation is stable or not is the next critical thing, in fact. So then what happens? So either this is going to be eliminated or this is going to be eliminated. If this one is eliminated, then we don't have the transformant. If this one is eliminated, then I think we are going to get a stable wild type. So this is what is called as an yeast integrating vector. I understand that in case of a previous case, I think whatever you are going to study it and whatever you are going to characterize the clone is totally a different way. But in case of an yeast, we have to use an auxotrope. Then once we do have an auxotrope, we have a mutated gene. Now that mutated gene is replaced with a functional gene. Now that particular process is going to be done what is known as a complementation. So in order to have a complementation, in order to have a replacement of the gene, so now we need to have a homologous recombination. When you want to have a homologous recombination, next to this mutated gene or a functional gene, we need to make sure that we do have a repetitive units, because these repetitive units are important in which a homologous recombination is necessary. If you do not have this homologous recombination, then what happens? This will remain in the plasmid, this will remain in the chromosome, and then this plasmid is no more functional and it is not going to be recognized, in fact. Then you don't get a viable one. So if you want to get a viable transformants, we need to have a homologous recombination. When you are going to make an arrangement for an efficient homologous recombination, that particular vector, we call this as an integrating vector, because here the gene is going to get integrated into the chromosome from the vector. That one is called as an yeast integrated plasmid. In case of a homologous recombination, I explained to you that there will be a gene duplication takes place. In case of a gene duplication, the mutated is going to be reversal. We are not going to get a stable, basically because the inserted gene is going to be eliminated. They do have a mechanism. So now because of this gene duplication, either we have two kinds, A form or the B form. Suppose if the B form is eliminated, then we are going to get a stable wild type which is integrated, and if this is eliminated, then this is not going to be viable. Now this is what is called as an yeast integrated vector. So now that is YIP1. The other integrated vector what they have designed is YIP5, in which this is a derivative from PBr322. Then they are going to use URA3. So these are the two examples. But nowadays if you look into most of the vectors, you will find a very good number of yeast integrated vectors. You can always look into that particular process. We will continue in the next video the other format.